I'm the fantasy guru. After Gameweek 1's crazy highs, Gameweek 2 was a disaster for many managers, with the global average being only 41 points. And I know, some of you didn't listen to me and decided to go for differentials, but it's alright. We've got 36 game weeks to fix the mess. Make sure to subscribe to the video and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss anything this season. Let's start with the right strategy for Gameweek 3. Should you use your wildcard? What if you don't have high-scoring players? Here's a good rule to follow. Only use your wildcard if you absolutely have to make 6 or more transfers. Your wildcard is precious, and while playing it early is a risk that has paid off for some, it has done the opposite for way more. Any fewer than 6 transfers can be managed over 2 or 3 game weeks. Risks will win you points, don't get me wrong, but make them calculated risks. Don't be too quick to jump on any bandwagon players. We simply don't have enough information yet. But if your entire team absolutely hangs on these popular players, you might consider selling. Number 1. Manchester City's player of the season last season, Portuguese midfielder Bernardo Silva. He went into Gameweek 1 in 27% of squads and rewarded his FPL managers with a spot on the Man City bench. His spot was taken up by Riyad Mahrez, a largely peripheral figure in Pep's team last season. In Gameweek 2, Bernardo Silva played 79 minutes, but with no attacking returns, again substituted for Riyad Mahrez. There's a reason we call it Pep Roulette. Listen to what Pep said about Mahrez playing.
No, the only problem he had last season is the manager don't select him quite often because he had in that position one of the best players played in one season was Bernardo. So sometimes they have to compete. So Bernardo knows now, wow, Riyad is an incredible player. I have to make a step forward. It's the only way to maintain the consistent.
What does this mean for Bernardo's playtime? Or for that matter, Mahrez? It means we just don't know. I'm pretty sure Bernardo will likely get some starts and possibly even occasionally score lots of points. If you want to hold on to one of these 2 players, that's Bernardo or Mahrez, the rewards could be incredible since they're both pretty good fantasy assets. But good luck guessing Pep's mind each game week. Someone else to monitor closely in Manchester City is Alexander Zinchenko. Manchester City announced the return from injury of preferred left-back Benjamin Mendy. So likely in the next couple of game weeks, Zinchenko will no longer be a viable, cheaper route into the City defense. Number 2. Tottenham Hotspur's maverick Lucas Moura just signed a long-term contract with his club, and he's been known to have explosive returns. But that's not why Moura was in 11.2% of squads at the start of Gameweek 1 and in 10.5% of squads going into Gameweek 3. It was because of the absence of Son Heung-min, thanks to suspension, and Dele Alli from a hamstring injury. Moura did have modest returns against newly promoted Aston Villa in Gameweek 1 with 1 assist and a total of 5 points, as well as a crucial equalizing goal against the champions in Gameweek 2, from the bench no less. However, Son's suspension is now served, and Moura's starts are even more precarious now. If you have him, time to get rid. Number 3. It's safe to say that Bournemouth attacking trio Wilson, King and Fraser have disappointed many an FPL manager. After their heroics last season, especially Fraser's, the trio are being looked at as deadwood, as they sit in a large number of squads with limited points output. And now, the so-called favourable fixtures that many saw for Bournemouth are beginning to take a turn. It might be time to get rid if you own more than one in your squad. Let's talk about players to bring in. Look, there's a reason so many of the FPL pros are bending over backwards to bring in Kevin De Bruyne to double up on Manchester City attack with Raheem Sterling. City have a very favourable set of fixtures upcoming, and we can expect, well, a cornucopia of points. If you have just one of them, you should still be fine. If you have neither, you can always try again next season. Apart from that, from Gameweek 3, Liverpool midfielder Sadio Mane is back on our radar after an impressive showing during Gameweek 2 against Southampton, serving up a goal, an assist and 13 FPL points in the 2-1 win. The upcoming home match against Arsenal may have Mane and his fellow Liverpool fantasy assets Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino licking their lips. Liverpool have scored 12 times in their last 3 home matches against the Gunners, and managers have noticed. He is the most bought midfielder this game week and now sits in 17.9% of squads. A word of caution though, if you have Mo Salah, it may not be the course of wisdom to take a points hit to do a straight swap from him to Mane. Both of these players are equally capable of getting points in each game. Some FPL managers believe Newcastle to be the whipping boys of the early stages of this season, and for this reason, Harry Kane stands out as a captain choice for Game Week 3, as Spurs host the Magpies, and there's good reason for this. Newcastle started this season having lost Rafa Benitez as manager, replacing him with one from the Championship, Steve Bruce, and having sold their top scorer last season, Ayoze Perez, to rivals Leicester City. Kane could very well score a hat-trick against a side that has already conceded 4 goals in the first 2 game weeks. But here's an interesting differential. Son Heung-min is back! We haven't seen him play yet this season because he was suspended for the opening 2 game weeks, and for that reason he only sits in 1.6% of FPL teams. But we expect that Pochettino will restore the fantasy favorite back to the starting lineup for Sunday's match against Newcastle. Last season, Son scored 12 goals, 8 of which were at home. That's more than Kane did. In fact, Son averaged a goal every 144.9 minutes at home, compared with the 177.7 minutes of Harry Kane. A differential with explosive potential. Finally, West Ham's opening 5-0 defeat to Manchester City may have put FPL managers off their assets. However, the subsequent 1-1 draw with Brighton and Hove Albion in Game Week 2 showed some promise for their attacking assets. The standout player to watch is Argentinian Manuel Lanzini, who provided the assist and harvested all 3 bonus points in the Brighton game. In Game Week 3, Lanzini and West Ham travelled to Vicarage Road to face a beleaguered Watford, who have already conceded 4 goals in the opening 2 matches. Lanzini can expect to get some points. He has already created 4 goal-scoring opportunities in these 2 game weeks, more than any other teammate. And West Ham's upcoming fixtures are also very favourable. Best of all, Lanzini could be an inspired differential pick, only sitting in 1.6% of squads. All the best with your teams for Game Week 3. Has anyone wildcarded yet? Anyone else you think should be a must-have for Game Week 3 for the 2019-20 FPL season? Or someone that should be gotten rid of in teams? Drop a comment below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at FPL Fantasy Guru. Thank you so much for watching. Fantasy Guru signing out for now.